Alright everyone, so this is how I'm going to be making videos for a little while. Let's get the mic in closer there. Just kind of gorilla. I'm doing 480 still. It's just the camera's there. My front-facing camera on my new phone isn't as good, so just like off the hip stuff, I'll be using my phone, which is this thing right here. It says Polaroid Link 6-inch. I got the box over there. It's basically a $100 cell phone. 6-inch IPS screen, does 720p. The camera does 1080, I believe. Yeah, why aren't you using it for this video? I use it for more just off the hip stuff when I'm using the actual app, and I'm just popping it through on that. Everything else, I just use this. It's easy enough. My computer doesn't struggle to render 480, and I'm not doing anything right now. Although the camera I'm using right now can toggle between input and output on its AV as video/composite and stereo AV input. So I'm going to try some capture at some point. TV's going behind me. That's the Samsung CRT. It has a monitor output. It's a bit bright right now, but it's showing off the I got X-Men running a MAME there on the Pi 1. Down below is I don't think you can see it there. It's just out of frame, or well, it might be right here. It's the Pi 2B that I've made. I'm gonna do a little video on that soon. It's just one that I made a cardboard box and everything with. I want to take a little workaround because it's not just like I threw it in a shoebox or something. Took the cardboard apart and layered it and glued it together with Gorilla Glue, so it's like fairly strong actually. You can throw it against the wall and you might dent it a little bit, that's about it. And nothing is like glued in, everything is screwed and mounted in, so I could take the Pi 2 out and I could drop a Pi 3 or 3B plus in it and it'll work fine. See the monitor is picking up on the light, but not quite. It's a bit too bright there. I got lighting here. A couple of my lamps can actually turn around and do ambient light when I point them at the wall, or I'll point them at me, and I got decent enough light. And I got this little sucker right here. I might have to lower my audio levels a bit in post, but it's just my cheap little BM 750. Although that wording isn't very good. You know, some beardy still. It is spring here, but not quite. Some days are nice, some days aren't. So every time, I say it's a curse, every time someone says, when are you cutting that? It starts snowing, like within a day. At one point I was with my sisters there the other day, wished my nephew Dallas a happy 21st birthday, feeling old. And my oldest brother and my older sister were there because my older sister's home. My oldest brother and his wife actually live here too. Half the family actually lives right here in town. We didn't even grow up anywhere near here. Story for another day. But they looked at me and said, "Why are you cutting that? You're looking like Dad." I was like, "Don't. It will snow." Within an hour, I looked out on her veranda, flakes were coming down. I was like, "See now, what'd you do?" Mind you, asterisk, so this is not going to be totally disingenuous. It did call for snow. But yeah, I'm pretty shaggy here. Probably by tomorrow I'm going to trim this all off and everything. Just give a little update, I guess, with all this. Right now, as it stands, my i7-2600 is not working. The motherboard died. I even put a new BIOS chip on it after I bricked it, and it worked for half an hour and just blew. The thing was a bit old. All the components work. I vetted them all on the Acer out in the living room there. It has an 1150 or 1155 socketed CPU. I have an i5-2400 in the living room PC. 2600 is in a drawer there. I want to take my time now, get a decent motherboard that can overclock, etc., and I'll use it with that. Something that has like 4 slots for DDR3. Then I can take all the DDR3 I got in the house and throw it into that with so I can have 16 gigs of DDR3 in it. And the 660 Ti is in this thing right now. If I can get a better deal on a card by the end of the year, I will probably put that in it, but I'm just taking my time with the 2600 build. Right now when I'm running on the computer behind me, it's a Core 2 Quad 8400. I've got the BSC Ultric so it gets about close to 3 gigahertz when it's throttled up. There's 4 2GB sticks of DDR3 Hynix RAM. It's not going very fast, but the Q8400 doesn't really recognize very fast RAM. It does do DDR3, but barely. The 660 Ti, the Asus DirectX 2 edition's in it. I have a 750 gig Western Digital Caviar Blue and a 1TB Seagate Barracuda drive in it as well. Besides that, I've got a 5 4-port USB PCI card in it, which it has 2 PCI slots. That's how old the motherboard is. An Acer motherboard a friend of mine gave me from an old Veriton. I'll probably put a picture of it right here. But inside the thing, you know, it's just inside like an old curve point case. I got somebody that it's in great condition. It's immaculate condition. It came from a radio station, and they were tossing it out. It had a Athlon XP in it, which isn't really good for much anymore. But I still got the board and everything in there. But yeah, I got it. I got an Antec 500 Antec Earthwatts 500 watt power supply. 4 ports external, 1 port internal, USB 2.0 PCI expansion card. The internal ports actually populated with a little cheap Bluetooth adapter that I have, so it is a Bluetooth computer as well. So if I figure to put a Bluetooth controller on my computer or use anything Bluetooth like a Bluetooth headset or something, I can easily do that. Besides that, I have an old Netgear WGT 1100 or something like that. Some old PCI Wi-Fi card does 802.11b and G, but when you go on Device Manager and anytime else when you install it, it doesn't say 56 megabit per second. It says in its name it's 108 megabit per second card. I think there's like 2 Wi-Fi antennas feeding into 2 Wi-Fi receivers feeding into the one antenna. I think it's some kind of weird duplexing. I'm not certain, but apparently, yeah, when I've tested it, it actually does have a decent amount of speed to it. Besides that, I got a Dell wired mouse and a Thermaltake eSports Commander memory and keyboard. Not bad. Backlit, but not RGB. Nothing major, but a friend of a friend, Rob Brown, gave it to me. My friend Mike in the UK gave me the 660 Ti, and besides all that, I got a Power A Xbox One Mini controller. Decent little controller. There's no dead spots, or dead zones or anything in it. It works. It's very responsive. A friend of mine gave it to me because he tried it out. He liked it, except for the fact he couldn't hook his headset to it, and that was the deal breaker for him because he did a lot of group play, a lot of online play. I'm not really an online player, but it's great. I have a second controller now for the Xbox One behind me. Besides the PC and the surround sound that you see a couple speakers with, and the headset there, that's just piped into the surround sound as a piggyback connector on it, so I can just not have the surround sound going, and I can just play on here, and whatever is hooked into the TV will actually go through that, so I can just use that for sound some nights where I don't want to have the sound system going because I live above someone and there are people, things around. I don't want to wake up and the system can get pretty loud. But yeah, besides the PC and the surround sound, there's an Xbox OG, an Xbox 360, and an Xbox One. Actually, I have the center monitor here. The HDMI coming from the computer for the center monitor actually goes through my Xbox One because at idle it doesn't burn up that much power. And so the Xbox One lets it use its 1080p because I have a component to HDMI adapter where I can feed in HDMI outputs through a component, but the highest it will do is 1080i, and for some reason it won't. The inputting device at 1080p will conflict with the 1080i, and it will just give some weird garbled message to the TV and says no support. So the Xbox 360 is hooked there via component. The OG Xbox is actually hooked to this. I actually have Cody on here, and then I've been watching. I got all 3 seasons of Star Trek Next Generation on DVD there, and I got it hooked in via component to the TV here. That was a decent TV. Fellow that I knew was tossing it off, or somebody was throwing it off. I don't know. Other places, and one person probably watches Dave will say, "You don't say tossing it off, tossing off." It's like here now there's a minor league hockey team in this province called the Growlers. They just announced 2 weeks ago. I guess they didn't consult the Brits on it, on naming. But yeah, chill space pretty good. I got a VCR and a S-Video cabled N64 there, and I got my HP laptop there, which is good for. I got it. It connects via Wi-Fi for its internet, but its Ethernet outputs to my Pi 1, which doesn't have Wi-Fi. Pi 2B has an internal Wi-Fi and an internal Bluetooth adapter through USB, and then I just made 2 extensions going out to the front of it for USB for controllers. But the Bluetooth is great because I have a little, it's right here, little Bluetooth keyboard. The only thing that sucks is there's no function keys on this, so Certain Commodore games and stuff like that aren't so fun to run with it, but other than that, it works fine. The computer I'm at right now, you might hear the fan a little bit. My old Athlon 2X3 triple core, I've got it basically set up as a workstation. It's recording the audio for this right now. It's got a webcam, it's got this microphone. This microphone actually has a, I don't connect it directly into the thing because I'll get a bunch of digital noise when I'm recording or when I'm Skyping or anything like that. I actually have a little like $3 USB Wi-Fi, USB audio sound card. It has 2 microphone inputs and 2 headphone outputs. Although I think those all just work via a splitter. And it does have volume controls up and down and mute, but I just use it for the microphone just as kind of an amplifier, etc. And it kind of filters out the digital noise that you'll get sometimes, like the little pinging you'll hear in the background. It's got 8 gigs of RAM, GeForce 645 GTX, which I didn't know was a thing, but it's a cut down 660. It's just take it. A fella I deal with, he breaks down a lot of computers. He'll go on a trip somewhere, scout out places. He's kind of like Brian from Tech Yes City. He'll scout out places on classifieds in bigger areas when he goes for a visit to the area, and he'll go there and buy a lot of computer parts and then bring them back with him. And this is an OEM card from like a Dell XPS and Alienware. That works fine. I'm having to use a DisplayPort because that's all the adapters I have left. The monitor I have is VGA, so I have a DisplayPort VGA adapter, but it works great. I have, like I said, this microphone hooked to it. Besides that, it's a triple core. It's got a 500 gig hard drive. Pretty soon I'm going to copy the user folder, and I'm going to reformat the thing and reinstall Windows 10 just to be fresh. This is the same copy I had on it since I installed Windows 10 on it in mid-2016. So it's well past its date for a refresh. But what I'm going to do is this time I'm not going to have any games on it, just the media production stuff, and there's going to be a Linux partition on it as well because I'm going to try fooling around in Linux again for things like media production. I participate in a podcast sometimes, and I do the video version of the podcast, and for the podcast in Sony Vegas 14 or 15 I'm on now, can't remember. It's not so bad. I've used the CUDA and I've used the CPU rendering, but I've not used OpenCL because I don't have, I suppose I could use OpenCL with my my NVIDIA card there, but OpenCL is more the domain of an AMD card. But yeah, the workstation's pretty decent. I just got a cheap little Microsoft keyboard, one I've had for years, and it's been banging around. I don't have the Model M hooked up to this simply because it's noisy. So when I'm recording or anything like that, I want something that's a bit quieter and membrane. Model M is a typist keyboard. I actually have a IBM electric typewriter here as well, one with the knuckle, the fist style little typing thing. I don't know the word for it. But yeah, other than that, yeah, just doing my thing, working when I can, and hopefully be working more full-time soon. But keeping alive, keeping my head above water, keeping the lights on, and yeah. But I'll probably do a video over the weekend now. I'm probably going to do one on my video there. Got a decent enough Firestrike score out of it on the computer. I'm playing AAA stuff. I'm starting to dabble back into Far Cry 5 when it came out. I didn't have anything that could play it until I assembled the computer. Previous videos I teased it when I had the 645 in it for my nephew. But then he turned around and bought a laptop with a 1070 in it, and I'm just like, dude, okay, well, do you want this anymore? And he's like, no, not really. I was like, yeah, well, your laptop can eat this thing's lunch now, so I consolidated a lot of my parts in it and got this running, and pretty good. I can do 1080p medium on most games, about 40, 45 FPS, 60 more. Besides that, I don't use it for anything else but gaming. This is my workstation. That's for gaming. I do have a laptop. It's running Windows 10 as well, but I'm probably just going to put like a full Linux install on it. I'm just debating on what distro to use. Probably just Elementary OS for its purposes. It's lightweight. It's got one of those E1 APUs. The E1 is like an early APU that has GCN 7000 series graphics at 7315, which is basically like 5450 in its abilities. Actually, it's like the 6450, basically, I think. But apparently it's GCN though, so that's not so bad. But it's only a dual core. It's got 4 gigs of RAM. I just really want it for like banging around, farting around. I took it on a trip last year when I went up home to see my folks. First time I was in my hometown area in 5 years. Hopefully going up again sometime in the near future. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'll probably do a video tomorrow or the next day on that. And I want to do one on my cardboard Raspberry Pi and a bit more on the new. I got RetroPie 4.4 on both my Pis now, so. And I got the nearest integer scalar shader on it now, so when I boot into a game, the menus are 480i, but when I boot into a game, the games are 240p. So, which is great because that's running in 240p right now, and that's my phone going off. Hush phone. It's fun. I might wipe and redo the Poly 2. I have it running like that, and Quake's pretty fun. I got the full version of Quake on there, and it's pretty interesting. Play it with an Xbox 360 controller, playing a twin stick. And yeah, but I'll probably end up wiping it and just having it run in 480i because I want it so I can just take it and plug it into a either a CRT like this or an HDMI flat panel. And N64 games actually don't run badly on it now. 4.4 really did improve a lot of the N64 games. So yeah, but yeah, I keep saying that's it for now, and it is it for now, and I will see you all in a couple days, hopefully.